Hey guys, this is Tina B.
And Charmaine G.
We're here to talk about the messiness of life. It's ugly.
And it's raw.
It's real.
And it's a freaking game.
It's whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
This is us.
And our gift to you.
Welcome to Whack-a-mole. We've got Tina B.
And Charmaine G.
That's right, coming at you. So, Tina, I got some questions to start off with. And just for our listeners, we're going to cover the what, who, when, where, why, and how today. That's covering all of it.
That's a lot of explaining.
It really is, but we've got 25 minutes to do it. So
we really want to just let everybody know what we're about, what we're doing, how we got right here in this moment today.
Tell me about Whack-a-Mole.
That's
how
funny.
did this name come up?
Well, as you know, you and I were just going back and forth. When I first came up with the idea to do a podcast, my thing was I wanted it to be called Truth Be Told, which is hugely popular. For me, I was like, okay, truth be told, blah, 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 blah. Truth be told, I don't always like hanging out with my kids. Truth be told, I don't ever want to cook again. Like things like that. Yeah. And then just go off and talk about that. However, that's hugely popular and we want to be unique. So you and I went back and forth. We had a couple of good names that we really liked, but they were taken. And then just like everything else in the middle of a conversation, I brought up how life can be like a game of whack-a-mole.
Have you played that game?
I have played that game.
I love that game.
You don't win at that game.
No, they keep coming.
And it keeps costing you money. But in life, you keep playing the game, you keep whacking those things, they keep coming back up, and you gain strength.
Isn't that the truth?
Totally.
So whack-a-mole means the game of life.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about how messy that can be.
Life. And guess what? Did you know there's over 7 billion people in this entire world?
Yeah, that's crazy.
7.6 billion.
That's crazy.
And every one of them has a life. So I envision this podcast is we're going to be able to connect and have relatability with each and every one of them in some points, because life, as you mentioned, is messy. Mm-hmm. It can be a blessing and it can be grand and glorious, and then it can take you to your knees in 1 second, can't it?
In a heartbeat. You know, my thing too is that over the years, if I can just, I want to say how I kind of got right here, because 2 years ago, I had been listening. I'm an avid listener of podcasts and audiobooks, like some of the self-help stuff I consume audio wise.
Yeah,
I still enjoy a book to open, a recreational reading.
I don't think they make
like
those
that
anymore.
I love books.
Digitized.
So I started listening, and then I was I was walking my dog, and I'm always asking, why am I here? Like, it's got to be beyond paying bills and doing all of that, and raising kids and wearing all these different hats. Like, what is my purpose? My solely mine, not to be anything else or wear any other hat, but what does the universe want from me?
Who is Tina B? Who is Tina B? What is your
besides
purpose?
everything I've done or everything I want to do? Like, what really is going on? What really is which I've asked that question a couple times and have gotten the answer. Anyway, I thought, I could sit and talk. I've talked to a lot of people about a lot of stuff, and not in an arrogant way necessarily, but I have experience. There's a lot of stuff that people talk to me about at work, or just, my relatives. I have sister-in-laws that, confide in me sometimes.
We may be talking about them eventually.
Yes.
But we don't name them. Or about them.
Yeah, right. And I have something to share, so why not? When I was, coming up and growing up, before I even had kids in my 20s, I would go to like speaker meetings, and I would go to these places, and I would hear women talk about stuff that I was like, how are they even saying that out loud?
Yeah.
But it made me know that A, I wasn't alone, and B, our experience has something we can offer that back to somebody else.
I mean, you get so much out of it when you're silently relating to somebody, and you're totally edified to know you're not alone. Mm-hmm. And I have to admit, my recollection of why we sat down and talked about, supporting you in the podcast, because I knew that this is what you're born to do, is we could talk about things that were just heavy. I mean, to the point where knowing that you were just listening and you've lived that experience. And that's what I envision you being able to do to all of our listeners.
Cool. We took a ride. Charmaine and I took a ride home from Salt Lake City back down to St. George, which is a good 4.5, 5 hour
Utah.
We're in Utah. And we didn't really know each other. And we got in the car and we took that ride. And I have to admit that I had trepidation about that. I'm like, you wouldn't want to be stuck in a car with somebody that you don't really know. You're like, but from the moment that I got in there, there was an instant camaraderie between you and I.
Sure.
And I knew that we would be destined to be close and to be friends. Did I know that we would be doing this? Absolutely not.
Right.
Am I happy and excited that we are? Does it fit like a puzzle piece? I mean, it just fits so in there.
You guys, I wish you could feel how I feel right now. I love this. And then, so I have a question for you.
Okay.
It's a loaded question.
Shit.
I know. Who is Tina B? I'll talk about Charmaine G, but I want to know you.
Okay. Well, we just mentioned we can either talk about what I've done and where I've been, what I am. I'm an Italian-American girl. I was born in the Bronx, raised a little bit in Jersey.
That's
You'll
right.
hear that in my voice.
Love it.
And in my actions and attitude. I can't hide that, nor do I even want to.
No.
I did for a long time as young. But now it's like, rawr.
Yeah.
And, I can tell you what I have. I've got a couple of kids I've given birth that hurt. I mean, I gave birth, had that experience more than once.
Sacrifice your body.
I've had a few relationships. I've been married 3 times. I mean, there's a lot. I've had a lot of experience in a lot of things.
One of the things I have to interject really quick is what I'm excited about is the listeners are going to get to peel back your onion. I mean, I think ultimately through topics and things that we're going to maneuver through, you've had 9 lives in one.
I've been in therapy too.
God bless America.
Most of my adult life, and so I have been peeling back a lot of stuff, and I think that we can peel that shit back and revel in the cathartic effects of that. Personally, of course. But then the second part of that for me has always been able to just, now I need to go and share how I walked through that. And I was a part of a 12-step program for a long time. And I had a mentor, a woman in my life who was like, I mean, I would call her just snot dripping, bawling, crying. And she would just
pick you up.
She would tell me that you're going to walk through this. And the only way to get through it is you're going to have to walk straight through it. The only way out is through.
Right.
So you have to walk through the pain. Did I want to do that? Fuck no. I did not want to do that. I mean, I hung up on her a couple of times. Like, who are you? This is not the solution I'm looking. Right. I'm not looking for the solution.
Right.
Anyway, she told me that there would be some women, young women, ladies in my life that would need to know. They would be faced with these same challenges and they would need to know.
Right.
And so on a given day, I would push through for just that reason.
Wow.
Because
to be there for them.
To be there for somebody else. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a saint because I'm far from that. But to have a focus for service and to serve humankind. And
it takes you out of yourself.
It takes me out of myself.
Yep.
Totally. A. And B, it doesn't always all seem for naught after that. Right. Do you know what I mean? There's a big purpose. Now, in my perfect world, I would love for all of my experience to edify and help the further grow my children. They're like, fuck you. Like, first of all, I'm going to go in this way and I'm going to find my own way out. And who the hell, like, we love you and mwah, and all that good stuff. But they're going to find their inspiration
Sure.
They've
got a whole other world coming at them. You know what I'm saying?
And they have to walk through that pain. That's a whole other podcast, is letting your kids walk through pain. So who is Tina B?
Sure.
Tina B has been a drug addict. Tina B has been a mom. I've been a single mom. Wow, you're a warrior coming through that.
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're
living
in that.
it.
You are living that.
I'm living it.
And I did
I'm a newbie.
And it's an FFT, as Brene Brown would say.
Ooh, Brene.
If you guys listen.
Shout out to Brene right now.
Totally.
All I got to say is I have been your friend from day one. We haven't met yet. We will. And that's great. So, Soul Sister, we'll probably quote you a lot. Please don't send us a bill because we can't afford to pay it. But we just want to say FFT in life, because one of the things Tina just touched on was walking through it. And that's one thing I'm not good at. I'd rather walk around it, dance around pain, mock, flock, fly over, not even go through it.
It's not easy. It is not easy. We're not here to just walk through pain. Like, we want to avoid that.
I don't think
at
I
all
was taught. I
costs.
don't think nobody, you don't
I
talk
wasn't.
about feelings. Like, you don't bring
No.
it up, and you just work through it and get up, dust yourself off, keep going.
Or if you do, you just, like in my house growing up, my dad was just, I remember my dad saying to me on more than one occasion, like, I'd come in smiling and happy, and he'd be, what are you so happy about?
Shoot you
I
down.
will wipe that smirk right off your face. And I mean, that's some backwards ass shit right there.
It is.
I could
the
never
joy
imagine
out of
saying
you.
that to my kids today, but it was kind of a part of the culture then, I guess, But I remember thinking that. I remember
Well, I think
thinking,
it's cyclic. He probably
it's
grew
just-
up like that,
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sure. He was
Right.
born in the 40s, please. But my thing here is that I want to, this isn't about making money or being famous or a celebrity or any of that. I mean, if it happens, we'd be okay with it.
I'm
Be totally okay with
Yeah,
it.
just want to warn
We
you,
are
we're
accepting
kind of like
donations
a big deal in our
all
own
the time.
minds. We're totally a big deal.
We'll send you we'll send you our Venmo. This is really about just people holding other people up. I want to say women holding women up, but it's not exclusive to that for me.
We
It's
touched
not.
on that. Yeah, we want to be
It's
able.
a human experience.
We need the balance of the men's perspective.
Totally.
We expect to talk about subjects that are going to be men related, that can actually put a different perspective and a lens that we're not looking through.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm going to reach out to our audience and say, we need men, we need women, we need children of this generation. We want to be able to connect and look through everyone's lens,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to say, oh, we've been through that and this is how you work through it. Or, you know what? I'm quietly listening because this is what I needed today. Needed to today.
So hard. It's so hard to quietly listen for me, because I have something to say about every fucking thing.
What was
Everything.
that meme that you said the other day? If I get murdered, just know that I...
Oh, I went down talking the entire time. Punching, talking. I never shut the fuck up, which is probably the reason I ended up that way.
just put her out of freaking misery.
I'm relentless like that. So I have to practice listening. I'm not a super good listener. I've learned that more with my kids in that relationship. Also with my husband, who's a
He's
rock
so
star.
patient.
He's a stud. He likes to jibber jabber though. He has the gift of gab, and when he talks, he's very contemplative. He's very organized with his talking, and he goes in depth, and it all makes sense, and it's all wonderful and beautiful. But
What a
then
talent.
I'm like,
all over the shit show
I don't
place.
always see it
Yeah.
as Italian. I'm just like, what?
What do you mean by this?
Okay, so this, and this, and let's go. What's happening over here? I don't have time for this. And when I do have time for it. It's just there's a patience involved in listening, and so I've been trying to practice very hard my listening skills. Who is Tina B? Let's get back to me in 5 weeks. Maybe next year we'll all know the answer
change
to
every
that
day.
question.
I mean, aren't we all evolving?
Yes.
So Charmaine G. That's
Who are
me.
you?
Good question. So I can tell you 43 years of life living. I'm a mother of two, single, divorced recently. So FFT, some of my paths have chose me, and half of them I've resisted. So I tend to say that I'm not the most comfortable in vulnerable states. I like to put the attention on other people. So
I don't see you like that.
with you alone, we don't have the world listening.
That's true.
Yeah. So just let me warm up to the audience, because when it comes down to it, vulnerability, I just have to have my face at the end of it. I have to be able to feel in a safe place to talk to people. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. I like to joke things off with humor. And one of the things that I can tell you that I take most pride in is that I never thought I would be a mother.
Me either. Me either. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I really didn't think that God, and I do believe in God, that is part of me as well. I really didn't think that he thought I could handle that, just because of my lifestyle that I was living for quite a bit. But he knows a lot more than me, and he knew it was time. And I didn't even start having kids till I was 32. So I'm old.
Ditto.
I'm tired. I'm freaking wore out. I'm a diehard politician. I mean,
I know that about you. And just for the record, I am not.
Look,
we will talk about it, and I'll throw shit at her. But I'm not. I don't wear that hat.
Yeah,
I love to listen about it.
I love business. I love marketing. I love creativity. Oh my gosh, Tina, that's you. That's what you should have claimed.
For sure.
Like, she's the most deep, empathetic. No, you're not pathetic. You're empath.
Sometimes I am.
You're not pathetic. No, I'm just telling you that some of the things that I don't even want to touch on, she can just feel it. She comes in the room and she knows exactly what's going on, and that's it. That actually is a God-gift talent. I believe that, serving people in that way, just helping navigate that. I'd like to say I'm an instrument in that as well. People are my jam. I love people. I love being able to...
I can attest to that. She loves to talk on the phone. I do not. I hate talking on the phone. I just hate it. I would rather send you an email or have a texting conversation.
I'd rather be in person.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Yeah.
But I also just don't, it's not my jam. It's not.
No, you
talk you're on the phone constantly.
That is not true. Kind of. Shit. No, I'll talk to you on the phone. But so with that being said, why are we here, Tina? Because we're going to get to know the who's of the Tina B and the who's in the Charmaine G. But why are we here? Why in the hell are we talking about life's whack-a-mole game? Why?
Okay, well, I was born. No, I'm just kidding. So this is the deal. If you want the whole story, I already kind of touched on it a couple of years ago. I felt like I wanted to start a podcast.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I mean, I bought equipment too. Like I just dove into it blind, not knowing anything about it. I started recording like at my kitchen table and editing. It was really hard. Editing is hard. I'm so grateful that he's here because I don't want to do any of that.
Right.
I didn't let go of the idea, even though it was hard. I just had to figure out where it was I had to be patient and sit back a lot. And when I sit back for that long, if I have an idea and there's not a lot of movement, my impatience kicks in, and then I get this negative self-talk like, oh yeah, great idea, Tina, you fucking loser. You can't do this. You're not going to do that. Like,
who do you think wants to hear
who do you think you are? That was a great idea for like 2 minutes.
Can anybody relate to the negative head?
Oh my gosh.
Raise your hand, audience.
Or the shame of starting something and being so excited about it and then not pushing through or following through with fear, it, all of that stuff.
Talking yourself down. So
and then we had that car ride. Then I left a job that I was squatting at. I wanted it to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the opportunity never showed itself. So I was just going to retire with the state because it's cush, And then, but that's not me. I don't sit like that and just retire. That's not my deal. I'm more alive at 53 than I've ever been, and that is the truth. So I left that job, and I knew because it was so hard to leave that. I cried to leave that job.
Security. To
go to the next job. And not only did it open up my professional life, it opened up the floodgates. Stuff really, I've told you this 100 times. Like, I'll wake up and just go, oh my gosh, I am living in this life and everything feels right. Not 100% of the time.
Sure.
But
if you're living the right life, I think you're the only person out of 7,600,000 that's finally connected.
I'm in a big push right now in my life. I get chills just thinking about it. I'm in a big breakthrough, in the middle of a huge breakthrough. And the key to that is just showing up every single day and just going, all right, well, feeling the vulnerabilities and and not
being okay being imperfect too.
There's that, but When I was a single parent, money was a motivator because I had to provide for my kids.
I'm there right now.
So yeah, so it was like, okay, I'll make more money if I do this. Okay, do I want to do that? Like deep down inside, probably not, but I'll do it because, you know, it's like prostitution, probably. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, are we about to put something on air that's ever happened?
No.
It's fine. We've gone through
but
life
it's like,
experiences.
I've taken on huge roles
Yeah.
for more money when
That was
my
the
heart
chair, by the
wasn't
way.
in that, and there wasn't passion about that work. So today it's not like that. I love my job. I love the
What do you do for
community.
work?
I serve our community as a certified pretrial monitor, case manager kind of gal. I get people that come out of jail and help them to stay compliant with the court, and I help them overcome some of these barriers and things that they need. I try to help keep people out of jail by providing them resources through our community. That's in a nutshell. That's very brief way of putting it.
And you're golden at that. Like, you're a magic maker is what I've always said. One of the biggest weights of the responsibility of the job that you uphold is that you work directly with the judges. So the judges get to view an offender in black and white, and they entrust that person and release them to jail under your custody. It's
stunning to me to hear
Yeah.
that, because I'll tell you, it's important to sit in front of my clients, and I'm trying to gain their trust, and I'm gaining the trust of the judges back here.
Closer.
Of the judges back here. That's two very different kinds of trust.
Sure. Two
And
different
they're
audiences.
both equally as important. So there's a finesse in
Love
there.
that.
There's a finesse that needs to, and that's what keeps
Sean.
me going. So we can talk about that community and that thing in more detail later. I'm here right now.
We'll hear a lot of stories because,
yeah.
again, it's not just our lived experiences that you're going to hear. We really, how we see this podcast rolling out, and one of the biggest roots of it is you, our listeners. Basically, I want this opportunity to hear what you've experienced. Kind of call it faceless therapy. You know, we're going to have live
Let's
recordings.
just talk it out, man.
Seriously. And I'll tell you, there's nothing more plentiful when you can sit there at the end and release all these thoughts, or like be in a position to where you can just say it like it is, you know, no holds back. One of my biggest fears of launching this podcast is being myself.
Stop.
No, I'm not lying to you, Tina.
Oh,
So
I
here's the
believe
thing.
you, but I want you to stop.
I was talking to a friend of mine, we'll just call him JS, before this recording. And I said, you know, I'm actually worried because I vision that I'm going to want to run for a House of Representatives seat. That's my goal, because I feel like I can.
God bless you.
Thank you. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to put up some money to get yelled at and to campaign and to try to put yourself in the hot seat to get rejected, just to do good on a state legislative level. But I feel like
I think comedians do that every day.
I'll tell you, I couldn't be
That's
able
what
to do
stops
their
me
job.
from doing stand-up, because that's
You'd be
really
so
my
good at-
deepest, darkest. I would love to do stand-up.
I bet you could do it really well.
Bombing,
Bombing
fear.
bombing people?
Bombing on stage, Charmaine.
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah. So that's my fear. But my fear is that some of my associates, my professional respective parties, are going to be listening going, so this is that side to her too as well. Because it's not a mask that I wear. It's just my audience. You know,
I think that will reveal the political platform to you in a nutshell. Quite honestly.
It definitely may inspire me even more. But I can tell you, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, nobody would have ever told me that I'd be doing the work that I do, that I'd be meeting Tina B and falling in love with her.
Aww.
And honestly, being so inspired every day to sit there and just be me. Just be me. It's not something that I've ever been able to experience in the last 43 years of my life. I've always been for others. I've always, been put in a box. I've been always a pleaser.
Oh, it's time, baby.
I hear it.
It's time.
I feel the
Do you
freedom
know there's
coming
so
on.
much freedom attached to that? There's so much freedom.
Full disclosure, I have to tell you, audience, I'm a singer, not by talent.
She just wants to be.
I will sing just off of words. So just
Desperado. No, I'm not a singer.
It's happening. It's coming. So, and this is without alcohol. We can do this. Oh my God.
Stone cold sober, baby. We just worked an 8-hour shift and here we are.
Right. So how we're going to do this is every Tuesday at 5 p.m. We'll be doing a Facebook live broadcasting. We'll be able to give you out a number. You can call in. You can be on the air with us.
Yeah.
We have set certain topics, but it may get to the point where we get to pick the topics of the month to where we get to just knee-jerk experiences with you. We're going to laugh.
It's important. This is in the comedy genre for a reason. I mean, we want to talk very truthfully and honestly and
real.
But
that's what life's. It's fucking real,
and it's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, shit is funny.
F-word on air. I'm freaking cool.
Stuff is funny. Life is funny, and it needs to be funny. I want people to listen and go, "Oh hell yeah, hell to the." Yeah.
Hell to the motherfucking yeah. Okay, we got 2 minutes. Here's the thing. Sean is dead set at 25 minutes.
I know.
But
Mr. Engineer.
The cool thing about that is
Sean D.
This is just our first episode.
Does anybody call him that, do you think? Sean D.
What up, D? That's D.
Yeah, like third grade, but
okay.
Okay.
We're in the fifth grade.
We've got the what covered. We got who? Tad bit covered, but we'll cover that throughout. When are we going to do this? Every Tuesday. Tuesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Where? Dixie State University.
Thank you, Dixie State University and Mr. Engineer for allowing us to come in here and do this. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I don't know if our listeners can see us. Oh, they can. Look.
I'm glad they put this up.
This is live. This is what we're going to talk about too. COVID, elections.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to talk
Masks,
about parenting, talk about domestic violence. Can you relate to that?
I can totally relate to that.
Loss
a few
of a parent.
separate times in my life, different seasons of my life, I've encountered domestic violence. I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah. Loss of a loved one.
Suicide awareness. How aware are we of suicide?
Right. You know, and like...
You're going to hear deep breathing from me all the time.
I'll tell you though, oh my lands.
40 seconds.
So here's the thing.
Go, baby.
Tina,
Charmaine.
I'm so grateful that you're taking me on this venture with you. And I just feel like I want to be able to propel you to be the best version of yourself. And I know that you do the same for me.
Ditto.
And at this time in my life, those are the only people that I choose to be around.
Ditto.
Okay. So... We like to have guests. We do plan on having guests on the show.
Oh, yeah.
We, again, expect to hear our first topic that we've decided on for next week. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex.
You've been listening to Whack-A-Mole with Tina B and Charmaine G. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Watch us on YouTube and subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Join us next time for, well, whatever may happen with Tina B and Charmaine G on Whack-A-Mole.